Okay, so are you a secret eater? Now, just a quick side note: in the UK, there's actually a program called Secret Eaters, which highlights this point very well. There's also a great video by Sohee Lee on this, which again just highlights it very well. And it's just the principle that basically people are eating a lot more than what they think they are. Okay, so a lot of the time people will jump to slow metabolism, genetics, etc. And yes, these can make a difference, not usually as much as what people think. But a lot of the time it's just that people, they're just eating more food than what they think they are, okay? And this comes down to a lot of things, but a lot of the time it's the little things that go unnoticed, okay? So the tiny little bits that we don't tend to notice or account for or even remember, really. And I'm going to give you a few examples, and there's probably quite a few that you can relate to. So number one, and probably the biggest culprit of them all, is peanut butter and the tablespoon of peanut butter. You are not doing a tablespoon of peanut butter. I can almost guarantee it. Because if you see what an actual tablespoon weighed out serving of peanut butter is, it is extremely depressing because it is literally nothing. Okay, so I can almost guarantee that you're not doing a tablespoon of peanut butter. And then obviously you lick the spoon afterwards as well. So there's extra calories. Next, and there's so many little ones. I'm just going to go through a few of them. So, for example, the biscuits that you have with your tea. The few chocolates or the crisps or the snacks that your co-workers offer you a couple of times a day. All of the little tastes, or I'm just going to have a bite of this, I'm just going to try this. We do it all the time. I've got a great example in my life, not me, but my mum. So every single time I go around my parents' house and I have food with me, my mum will always steal my fork and try a bit. Now, we just do it. We want to try food all the time, but we just don't tend to remember that we're having these tries and these bites, okay? Things like, let's say you're cooking your kids' dinner, and while you're plating it up, you nick a few chips, okay? Maybe you're clearing it away, and there's a few chicken nuggets left over. So, you think, well, I'll have them. They're only going to go in the bin, so, I don't want to waste them, so I just have a couple of chicken nuggets. Things like, let's say you're pouring out your bowl of cereal or you're pouring out your glass of wine, and you pour it out what you think that you want, and there's a little bit left. So there's a little bit left in the box, there's a little bit left in the bottle. You think, well, there's no point in leaving that. I might as well finish it off while it's here. Again, it's just extra that you're not accounting for, but you don't think about it. Things like, again, licking the spoon. Let's say you're baking cakes, you enjoy baking. It is literally a crime not to lick every single spoon and every single cooking utensil throughout the whole process of the baking process, okay? It's a crime not to do it. Everybody does it. But again, if you're doing that 10, 12 times throughout that whole baking process, it's a lot of calories that you're not accounting for. And there was a great story, I can't remember who said it, but I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about a specific client who was a chef, and they just couldn't nail down why she wasn't losing any weight. And eventually, after a lot of analysis, they just, came to the conclusion that she was just trying things all day, obviously as part of her job. And there are only, teaspoons, tiny little teaspoons, like here and there. But if you're doing that for 8-10 hours a day, she was just racking up so many calories. But again, she just wasn't thinking about it. And it comes down to like this mindless, it's almost like categorized as mindless, mindless eating. It's things that we do without thinking about it. And there's two ways of looking at this. Number one is when we eat whilst doing something else. So we have a bag of crisps, a bag of nuts, whatever, and we're working, we're watching TV, we're on the phone, and we're doing that whilst eating. And we've probably all done this before, where you're doing something and then you look down and you reach down and all of a sudden you realise there's nothing left. And you're like, I literally cannot even remember eating any of them. Because you were doing other things. And again, they just add up. And the second part of this mindless thing, which I find quite fascinating, is that when you ask people to recall what they've eaten in a day, they are fantastic at recalling sort of set meals. So they'll say, well, for breakfast I had this, for lunch I had this, and then I always have a snack about 2:00 and I had this, and then for dinner I had this. And I'm like, well, that's awesome, that's great. But what they don't sort of account for, and what they're not great at recalling, are all these things that we've talked about tonight. Okay, the sort of the mindless aspect, the unplanned extras, the sort of, again, the unplanned tastes, bites. I'm just going to try this, or this person offered me this, or I just wanted to finish, I just finished this box, or I just nicked this here, I just tried that there. People are, we just don't remember because, again, it's mindless. We don't think about it. It isn't planned, it isn't set. And a lot of the time when we're doing it, we're not consciously thinking about it. So we can't really recall doing it. But again, these just add up so quickly. And like I say, they go unnoticed and they go unaccounted for, but they add up. And then we've talked about sort of the metabolic adaptations of dieting. So in a very, very brief nutshell, when you diet, things drop. So your metabolism drops, you unconsciously move around less. So essentially you expend less calories. So instantly, say your 500 calorie deficit and your diet is cut to 300, okay? Now, all you have to do is pick a couple of these aspects we've talked about today, and instantly your eating less is no more. Your 500 calorie deficit is 0. You know, if you add into the fact that your metabolism drops, you move around less, you expend less calories, and you add on these couple of extra calories from these things that we don't really think about, you're no longer in a state to lose weight. And it is that easy. And the absolute best way to get around this is to do a food diary. And just for a few days, carry this food diary with you, and every single time you eat something, no matter how small, put it down, because you will probably be surprised about how much goes unnoticed. Okay, so there's the video for tonight, guys. Hope you got some value from that. If you did, please feel free to like, comment and share, because I always appreciate it. Have a fantastic evening, and I shall see you on the next video.